Hey everyone, Shelden here, and this is the first update for a new project I've been working on for about a month and a half now. This is going to be a paper Rubik's Cube. Basically, I'm using a lot of different paper crafting techniques to make these individual pieces, and I have a real one right here for reference. So I'm just going to take this apart, not fully apart, I'm just taking a couple pieces out. There's one. And here's a corner piece as well. So the Rubik's Cube consists of, I'd say, about 3 different major components. So these pieces, which are the pieces that form the cross shape on each face. These are the corner pieces, which are a little bit more complex in shape. And you have the core, which is basically a connection between the middle pieces you see on each face. So those don't actually come out or anything. They're connected together, and you'll see more about that later on when I get around to actually making it. But for now, I'm just going to show you some of the progress I've made with some of these more basic components. So you can see here I have a few of the pieces that form the cross, and some of them are further along than others. For example, this is the very first piece I made for the entire paper Rubik's Cube. You can see I actually used super glue and cinnamon for this piece in particular because I didn't have access to any baking soda at the time, but it actually works the exact same, which is pretty cool. And here's one made with super glue and baking soda, so you can see it just does the same thing. And obviously all these components are going to need to be heavily polished in order to work properly, but as far as basic function goes, they work pretty well. And I can show you that really quick by putting one of the paper components in here. So there it is, and you can see this actually rotates the exact same way as a real one, and it can even do a slight corner cut, which is when it's moved past that a little bit and I'm still able to snap that into place. So those pieces aren't actually that complicated to make. You can see I've got one here that needs to be rounded off more, like this side's round, this side's still a corner. This one here is done and will work perfectly fine. And then I've got some components here that form these pieces. So basically I just take a bunch of squares that are the dimension I need, 0.750 by 0.750. I just glue them together and then sand the edges to make them nice and square. So these are the exact same size. And then I take a middle component, which is shaped like this, and that piece just goes in between these two pieces, and that's how it forms that shape. And then of course you need that little concave shape there, which you guys will see how I do that a little later on. But basically this middle piece is just made with a bunch of these thin template layers, and I just take a bunch of these, glue them together, take a bunch of squares, glue them together, and it's basically just like a Rubik's Cube sandwich. Now the corner pieces are a little bit more complicated. I have a prototype version here, and you can see I didn't have baking soda at the time either, but basically I'm not going to use this one because I really didn't know what I was doing, and I was just trying to make something that would kind of resemble a Rubik's Cube corner piece, but it looks okay, but the angle of that pole basically coming out of there is slightly off, and that's because I didn't know how to get that at the right angle. And also this top part here, this triangular shape, was basically a big cylinder, and I was trying to carve it as it was in here, and it was way too difficult. So here's my new method, which you can see over here. I have one of the corner pieces in construction here, and I've got two that are almost finished, and you can see the method is a little bit different. So if you look at one of these when it's close to being finished, you can see it's kind of like, what's going on here? But it's actually pretty simple. I just take a bunch of triangles and stack them up on both sides, and to get the angle of the hole, I just take other triangles that are right here. They're not glued together or anything yet, but those get glued inside there at the correct angle, and I'm able to kind of build around that shape and get the proper angle I need. So one of the stacks of triangles goes in there in that direction, and then I take another stack and just glue it in there like that. So now I don't have to do all that guesswork and, you know, try to drill in there perfectly, because you can't really secure this piece in anything unless you make some kind of jig, because I can't hold it in a vise like this and drill that hole out, because, you know, it's not perpendicular. I can't turn it like this and drill it. Same thing. It has to be just like that, and that's pretty difficult to hold, especially with paper. And the other corner piece I have here is one that I actually made before this one, so you can see I'm getting the gist of how to make these, and they're turning out better as time goes on. And lastly, the most complicated piece for these corner pieces is this shape right there. And I think I did a pretty good job making one of them out of paper, and here's what it looked like before it looked like that. It's a very small, detailed part, and you can even see, like, that's a concave shape there. Like, it needs to be in order to function properly, and this is a convex shape. So I just tried my best to get it to match this, and I think it turned out pretty well. Time will tell, of course, when I actually glue it to the corner piece. So it's going to come out something like that. And you can see, since that's what it used to look like, and this is what it looks like now, it just takes some filing and sanding, a lot of carving with an X-Acto knife, but it can be done. And when you see what this part actually needs to do, it starts to make more sense. It fits in that concave shape and actually rotates through that. So here's the real one, just like that. So hopefully I got it close enough. And if not, sandpaper. That's basically the answer to everything. So overall, I'd say this is working out pretty well so far. And my theory behind this is, if I can take the real Rubik's Cube and replace every component in it minus the core for now with paper, and it functions properly, then I should, in theory, be able to make the core out of paper and probably some wire or something like that, and get a fully functioning Rubik's Cube. And then after that, it's just going to be a matter of determining whether or not I want to make it look like it's a real cube, or keep it paper looking, you know, with all the different orientations of paper. But I'm not really sure yet. Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below or in a personal message, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see all the latest updates, and I'll see you guys in the next video.